Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tea and Talk English podcast, where we help you learn English by listening to real conversations. I'm your host, Mark, and with me is my lovely co host.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jessica, and today we're talking about something delicious breakfast. In this episode, we'll compare British and American breakfasts. We'll talk about the food, the drinks, and even the culture behind the morning meal.
I'm already hungry, Jessica. Breakfast is my favorite meal of the day. We'll start with the chat between us, and later we'll invite two special guests, Emma from London and Daniel from Texas, to tell us about their breakfast traditions.
That's right. So get your cup of tea or coffee, relax, and let's talk breakfast.
So, Jessica, what do you usually eat for breakfast?
Well, I like to keep it simple. I usually have a bowl of cereal or some toast with butter and jam, and of course, a cup of tea.
That sounds very British indeed. I'm a little different. I enjoy scrambled eggs, toast, and maybe some fruit. Sometimes I have coffee, but not always.
That sounds like a healthy start to the day. But, Mark, I have to ask, have you ever had a full English breakfast?
Oh, yes, once when I visited London. It was amazing, but very big. There were eggs, sausages, bacon, baked beans, tomatoes, mushrooms, and toast. And a cup of tea, of course.
Yes, it's a lot of food. A full English breakfast is not something we eat every day. It's more for the weekend, or maybe a special day. But it's delicious and very traditional.
I remember it was very filling. After that meal, I didn't need lunch. But I've also tried an American breakfast. It felt a little different. Pancakes, syrup, eggs, and bacon. Very sweet, very tasty.
Yes, I think American breakfasts have more sweet flavors, while British ones are a bit saltier or heavier. You know, in Britain, they also eat porridge, warm oats with milk. It's simple but comforting.
That's true. In America, people might have oatmeal, which is quite similar, but I think Americans often eat faster breakfasts. Cereal, toast, or maybe a breakfast sandwich. Whereas in Britain, sometimes breakfast can be more relaxed and traditional.
Exactly. And of course, we can't forget the drinks. In Britain, they love tea, especially in the morning. Black tea with milk, not too strong, not too weak.
And in America, coffee is king. Many people start their day with a big cup of coffee, sometimes with cream or sugar, sometimes black.
It's interesting how drinks tell a story about culture, right? Tea feels calm and relaxing. Coffee feels fast and energetic.
That's a great point.
Breakfast traditions might seem simple, but here's something wild. The reason Americans eat bacon and eggs every morning came from a 1920s PR campaign that completely transformed how an entire nation starts their day. That's such a fascinating piece of food history. And you know what's interesting? I spent time in London and discovered their breakfast traditions came from a totally different place. The Victorian era's wealthy showing off their status.
Let's break down these two breakfast powerhouses. The American breakfast table is like this sweet, savory circus. You've got pancakes drowning in maple syrup right next to crispy bacon, creating this fascinating flavor contrast that you don't really see in other cultures.
The British approach is completely different. When I first encountered a full English breakfast, it looked more like dinner. We're talking savory all the way through.
That's right, and here's where it gets interesting. The full English breakfast has these components that would seem completely alien on an American breakfast plate. You've got baked beans, grilled tomatoes, sautéed mushrooms, and what they call bacon, which is actually closer to Canadian bacon.
And let's not forget the most controversial item black pudding. I remember staring at it for a good while before trying it.
Black pudding is fascinating because it really highlights the practical origins of British breakfast. It's essentially a blood sausage made with pork blood, fat, and oatmeal. Nothing went to waste. This ties into how the British breakfast evolved as fuel for the working class during industrialization.
So, how did Americans end up with such a different breakfast tradition?
Well, this is where Edward Bernays comes in. Sigmund Freud's nephew, believe it or not. In the 1920s, the Beechnut Packing Company hired him to boost bacon sales. He got doctors to promote the idea that a heavy breakfast was healthier than a light one, and suddenly bacon and eggs became the American standard.
That's incredible. And what about our massive cereal industry? That must have an interesting story, too.
Oh, absolutely. The Kellogg brothers started it all in Battle Creek, Michigan. They were running a health sanitarium and developed cereals as a healthy alternative. But here's the twist. Will Kellogg realized adding sugar would make them more marketable. By 1906, Kellogg's cornflakes were everywhere.
The sweetness level is such a stark difference between American and British breakfasts. Even their cereals tend to be less sugary.
And it goes beyond just cereals. The British approach to breakfast spreads is fascinating. Take Marmite, for instance. It's this yeast extract spread that's so divisive, the company actually built its entire marketing campaign around people either loving or hating it.
Speaking of differences, the whole tea versus coffee divide really shows how these cultures diverged, doesn't it?
Exactly. The British tea ritual is almost sacred. Strong black tea with milk served in smaller cups. Meanwhile, Americans are grabbing massive cups of coffee to go. Recent studies show Americans consume about 400 million cups of coffee per day, while the British drink about 100 million cups of tea daily.
These traditions are evolving, though, aren't they? I've noticed both countries shifting toward healthier options.
That's right, we're seeing this interesting transformation where traditional breakfasts are becoming weekend treats rather than daily fare. Market research shows that about 60% of millennials in both countries are opting for lighter, more portable breakfast options during the week.
Though there's something really special about these traditional breakfasts that keeps drawing people back.
It's fascinating how these breakfast traditions have become cultural touchstones. They're not just meals, they're expressions of national identity. The British breakfast reflects their practical, no nonsense approach to food, while the American breakfast shows our love for abundance and our susceptibility to clever marketing.
Do you think these traditions will survive in their current form?
What we're seeing is this beautiful evolution. Traditional breakfasts aren't disappearing, but they're adapting. Recent food trend reports show a 25% increase in fusion breakfast dishes that combine elements from both traditions. It's like we're entering this new era where breakfast isn't bound by cultural constraints anymore.
Though I have to say, some things might never cross over. Like Marmite in America.
You know what's really interesting? These distinct breakfast traditions have survived and evolved while maintaining their core cultural identity. It shows how food remains one of the most powerful ways we express and preserve our heritage, even as we become more globally connected. And that's something worth thinking about over your next morning meal, whatever that might be. Our first guest today is Emma from London. Emma, thank you for joining us. Can you tell us about your typical breakfast in Britain?
Hello, Mark and Jessica. Thank you for having me. Yes, I'd love to share. In the UK, breakfast can be very simple during the week. Most people are busy, so they might eat toast, cereal, or porridge. I personally like toast with marmalade and a cup of English breakfast tea. But on weekends, we enjoy something special, the full English breakfast. It includes fried eggs, bacon, sausages, baked beans, grilled tomatoes, mushrooms, and toast. Some people also add black pudding, but not everyone likes it. It's a lot of food, but it feels comforting and traditional. We usually eat it slowly, maybe on a Sunday morning, with the radio on or the newspaper beside us. It's warm, it's filling, and it feels very British. And of course, tea, strong milky tea in a big mug. That's how I like to start my day.
That sounds lovely, Emma. Thank you so much for sharing your breakfast with us. Now let's meet Daniel from Texas, USA. Daniel, what's breakfast like for you in America?
Hey there, Mark and Jessica. Well, in the U.S., breakfast really depends on the person. During the week, many people eat something quick, maybe cereal, a bagel, or a breakfast sandwich. We often eat on the go because mornings can be busy. But on weekends, we like to have a bigger meal. In my family, we love pancakes with maple syrup, scrambled eggs, and crispy bacon. Sometimes we make waffles or French toast. In the South, where I'm from, we also eat biscuits and gravy, which is very popular here. It's warm, soft biscuits with a creamy sausage gravy. Very filling. We drink a lot of coffee, usually strong and black. I think Americans like breakfast that gives energy for the day. And of course, we love sweet flavors: syrup, jam, fruit. Breakfast here feels happy and cozy, a time for family to sit together before the day begins.
That sounds delicious, Daniel. Now I'm really hungry.
Me too. Thank you so much for sharing your American breakfast traditions with us.
So, Jessica, after hearing from both guests, which breakfast do you prefer? British or American?
Oh, that's a hard question. I love the comfort of a full English breakfast, but I also enjoy pancakes and syrup. Maybe I'll have both. One on Saturday and one on Sunday.
That sounds like a great plan. I think both breakfasts show how culture and food are connected. British breakfasts are hearty and traditional. American breakfasts are cheerful and sweet.
Yes, and for our listeners, remember, you can learn English while you eat breakfast too. Try listening to this podcast in the morning while you have your tea or coffee.
Exactly. And if you like this episode, please subscribe to Tea and Talk English podcasts and tell us what's your favorite breakfast.
Thank you for listening, everyone. Have a beautiful morning and keep learning English with us.
Goodbye, everyone, and enjoy your breakfast.
Morning sunlight filters through the blinds. We settle in, hearts and curious minds. Porcelain mugs cradle words we shared. Stories steeping in the rising air. Tea and talk where our worlds collide. Sip by sip we take the ride. Pour your thoughts into this space. Every voice finds its place. We wander through the highs and lows, unravel tales in quiet flows. Between the sips and whispered lines, we find our truths in steady times. Ooh, every pause is room to breathe. Confessions tucked in every leaf. A cup of warmth can heal a heart. Together here we're never apart. So join the circle, pull up a chair. Tea and talk will meet you there.